when we're sad or depressed, we would tend to grab our phone and just scroll through social media, short form contents, and especially during those depressing moments, the algorithm, it is like it knows how we feel. Then once we happen to find a melancholic content, or some sort of sad music, right? It amplifies our depression or sadness. That's why I cut it all completely. I did not turn it on even when I went outside, when I walked alone, when I was in the library, I was studying. I completely cut it off. Like, regardless, no exception. I'm not gonna listen to it again. Because, like, people who live alone, just like me, or even if you are surrounded by your family members or your roommate, or you often socialize, still loneliness doesn't come from, you know like, most of the time I would say that we don't feel seen nor understood deeply by anyone. We cannot talk profoundly or vent about our day to anyone at all. Like, even like your mom, your brother, your friend, whatsoever. That's why we feel depressed. And it is scientifically proven that music amplifies your sadness because, when you are already sad, then you would tend to find, a source that would probably help you or someone who could relate to you. And in this case, you go through your phone and scrolling to find some related melancholic contents so that, you would feel belonged, that there are so many people who feel the same way subconsciously. So that's not the main thing that you actually want. You just, it is like you trying to identifying your feeling, but what actually happens is that your depression is amplified, thereby making everything worse. Then your whole day will be ruined and you will be ruminating about the cause of your loneliness and depression, regardless of its severity. That's why I'm recommending you to just stop listening to music. But if it is too extreme to you, you can try to reduce the frequency or try to listen to music that doesn't align with how you currently feel. That would be better. Even better if you can cut off social media because, if you're still scrolling but you don't listen to music anymore, those melancholic contents, like some quotes, for example, quote unquote, I feel so lonely even when I'm surrounded by so many people, or what I have ever wanted is just to be seen. Just like these kind of quotes, it deepens your wound and emptiness. That's why I genuinely don't recommend you to do that at all. There are countless things that you can do to dissolve the feeling of depression, anxiety, or sadness, emptiness, whatsoever. You can go for a reflective walk, you know, thinking about how you feel. Why do you feel this way? Is there any way that you can do to make you feel better? Maybe go eat something that you like, or you can just go to the gym. It also improves your mental health and physical health, scientifically proven it genuinely helps you. Or if you cannot go outside, you can just stay in your room and journal whatever that you're feeling. Just be authentic, even if it is awful or painful. You can just try to write it down. It is like you are expressing how you feel. But one of the best ways, if you can do, is talking to someone trusted. It can be anyone, even if, just your close friend or your mom, your brother, anyone, if you're close to that person, okay? It would really help you because at least you would feel understood by someone, and you kind of vented how you feel and what's going on in your mind, and it would make you feel better instead of bottling up the feeling, and one day you will be exploding it on, I don't know, could be on someone or like yourself, which is really really bad. That's why loneliness epidemic has been on the rise. It's really sad because most of the time we just don't have anyone to talk to. Even if it's just someone from the internet, if you trust that person, that will do, genuinely. So don't overlook your minimal depression or sadness. A lot of the time, it happens to me late at night, I would say, when I'm alone. Not because I was scrolling or, didn't have anything to do, but even my day was perfect, I was being productive for the whole day. It could still happen, for no reason. That's why we need to regulate it properly instead of, bottling it up, and then it would just amplify our depression. And I don't want it to befall upon anyone, because once it is built up like to the most extreme level, it could be too far gone. That's what I'm afraid. That's why I'm trying to help you guys, because a lot of the time you don't realize that like those melancholic contents worsen your feeling, your emotion. Seriously, you can, ask ChatGPT or like do research. It really sucks, especially when we spend a lot of our time on social media without realizing what it does to us. So, folks, don't rely on social media whenever you have a problem, because not every time that it will be helpful. Think about it critically. Try to solve it on your own first. And then if it really can't help, just try whatever I just recommended to you, exercise, walking, reflecting, journaling, or even learning a new skill. It can be anything. In my case, I would learn a new language. Right now, I'm learning German. It is quite difficult, but it's fun. You can do you can do an experiment, not listen to music for 2 weeks and then see how it goes. Genuinely, I've stopped listening to music for months, and it really is helpful. I promise you, whenever I'm sad or feel lonely, it is not as bad as it is used to be anymore, because there are no external variables that amplify my feeling. It is just me, and if it is bad, it's just bad because of me. And I will just try to vent it out in my own way. That's it. And if you have any problem or if you want me to talk about anything, just comment down below. I read every single thing. And thank you for watching. Have a great day, folks. Thank you, but